All right, good day everyone. This is Hamza here and I will be your host for tonight's workshop. It's 8:05. I would like to welcome you all to this event, Getting Started with AI, Build a Chatbot with Dialogflow. And without wasting any more time, let's get ourselves a look into the agenda for today. Um, right then, so firstly, we're going to take a introduction to chatbots, and we're going to take a look at things like types of chatbots, their use cases, natural language processing, but obviously a very high level overview, nothing too technical. And then we'll take a look at why build a chatbot in this day and time, some two facts as to why you should build a chatbot, and then how to build one, which is where we transit to our section 2, which is the Dialogflow demo, where we will look into 3 important concepts: the intents, contexts, and entities, which will be the building blocks of our chatbot that we will build in this workshop later on in the demo section. We will see how we can use them together, and then, of course, you're going to plan and build simple chatbot that covers these concepts. And then lastly, we'll take a look at some integration options, which basically means how you can get this chatbot onto your own platforms. Yeah. And then we have a Q&A at the end where you can ask questions if you have any. Right, so let's get started with the intro to chatbots. So what is a chatbot? Now, this is a question that can go unanswered, or it can be wrongly answered, can be made a bit complex. Simply put, a chatbot is a piece of software application that has the capability of understanding the human speech, and at least to some extent, and process it. But lastly, a very important characteristic of chatbot is its ability to interact with the humans, either by answering back or performing actions based on wherever the conversation flow is. And what really makes a chatbot such a powerful application is its natural language processing capabilities, about which we will talk about in one of the coming slides, right? So let's take a look at types of chatbots now. When we say types of chatbots, we can craft out 2 different answers for that actually. In one way, you can talk about types of chatbots distinguished by how they engage with humans. So how do they reply to me? Do they talk back to me, or do they type their response back to me? And on the other hand, we can talk about another type, which is basically they're distinguished by their designing process. So how are they designed? So firstly, we're going to take a look at the first type, distinguished by how they engage with us. And there are broadly 2 types. There could be more based on these, but for simplicity's sake, we'll take a look at these 2 types first. So we have the text-based first. These kinds of chatbots are the one that interact and communicate through the means of text messages, of course, and they can be extremely efficient in situations where they are sort of designed to accurately sense and also gather customer interactions, as well as solving queries related to them. And they are merged onto some social media platforms like Facebook Messenger, Telegram, WhatsApp, and all that. So that's where they are merged onto wherever your business's more customer reach maybe. So that depends on your business or wherever you're implementing this. And then a good example for this is in Malaysia, at least, is Shopee, or it could be any e-com platform. But in this case, let's take a look at Shopee, which is an e-commerce platform. Why is it a good example? Because to go through, in order to reach the live agent, you need to satisfy some answers for the bot. You need to type to the bot that you need to talk to the live agent. Then only you can go through the live agent. So that's an example of a text-based chatbot. And then we have the voice-based or voice-enabled chatbots, which these kinds of chatbots have the capability of obviously both speech recognition as well as transforming text to speech, of course. And they usually accept both text and your speech as input. And a good example for this, in fact, the best example would be your very own personal assistants in your phone. Google Assistant in the Google phones, and for Apple users, you have Siri, which is an example of this. And basically, voice-based chatbots have gained popularity in the recent times. And the reason for that is because they sort of eliminate the need for typing by the user, which means less work for the user to do, which is in this day and time, it's considered better. So that's why they have gained popularity in the recent times. Next, again, these are types of chatbots, but now they are distinguished not by how they engage with us, but they are distinguished by how they are designed as a fundamental, how they are designed at their core. So when we talk about this type of chatbots, we can, again, we mainly have two types, but based on which there might be more. But once again, for simplicity's sake, we're going to take a look at these two types. So firstly, we have the rule-based chatbots. Now, these are the kinds of chatbots that use a set of rules based on which they are trained to solve the user's query, or basically answer the user. And the best way you can imagine or picture this is a huge decision tree. Decision tree is basically where some event leads to some this branch of the tree. Basically, an event leads you to another branch of the tree. That's a decision tree. A huge decision tree is what a rule-based chatbot essentially is. And rules, coming to the rules, they can be very simple, such as a rule that detects a greeting from the user. So if I'm the user, I say hi, and then the chatbot replies back to me is like, hello. That's a simple rule. Or it could be as complex as solving queries related to business logic. So if you are a business offering services, then you can sort of implement whatever rules you want to implement depending on your business logic, and you can make it as complex as you want. There's no limitations. And moving on the other hand, we have the self-learning chatbots that use the machine learning models to understand what the user is inputting or saying before they come up with any sort of response. Once again, the natural language processing is extremely important because the chatbot needs to understand the intent as well as the context from the input before they formulate any sort of response. So hence why it's so important. And as the name suggests, of course, they have self-learning capabilities, meaning if they are trained with new questions, new data sets, they will learn over time. So those are that's self-learning in a nutshell. And a common question that is bound to arise in some of your minds would be that, does this mean that the self-learning chatbot is a better option, or is it more intelligent, or is it more powerful? To answer that, well, yeah, in some cases they are more intelligent, they are more powerful, but when it comes to achieving a specific objective, it is definitely not necessary that a self-learning chatbot will be suitable. On the contrary, if trained properly, a rule-based chatbot, if trained properly, of course, by large amounts of data, firstly, if trained properly by large amounts of data, a rule-based chatbot can outperform and be a better or a more efficient option. And some examples of situations where this would be true is your help desks, or your, for example, when you're ordering food via a chatbot. It could be any restaurant, it could be your online apps or anything, or wherever the business logic is extremely clear, you can make rules based on those, based on the business logic, and hence why it's bound to perform better than a self-learning bot, because in the business logic, you don't change your logic every day. So there is no need to self-learn and adapt, as you aren't offering anything new in terms of services. So that's to answer the question if self-learning bots are more powerful or no. And of course, one more thing, which is rule-based chatbots still use natural language processing to understand all the inputs that they get. So it's not true that they are totally unintelligent. It's just that they don't have self-learning capabilities. Right. So moving on, we reach natural language processing. Excuse me. Right. So what is NLP? Well, NLP is basically a subfield of artificial intelligence, which is sort of combined with linguistics. And linguistics is just the study of languages. So what kind of languages? Well, we will take a look at natural languages first. What is a natural language? A natural language is any language that has been evolved over the course of how many ever years it needs to be evolved. An example for that could be Arabic, Chinese, English, all those languages that are evolved naturally. Whereas on the other hand, an artificial language is a language that is sort of created by humans in order to better communicate with machines. An example for that could be Java or Python. That's the difference. In this case, we're talking in linguistics, we're talking about the natural language, study of natural languages, right? So on your right, you are looking at two types, not two types, but two sentences. And these are examples of syntactical ambiguity in natural language processing. Now, those of you that might be coming from a background in AI might be wondering why not show heteronyms, or why not show lexical ambiguity and all that. Well, to be honest, natural language processing is such a broad topic on its own that a 2-hour workshop wouldn't be sufficient to cover it. But the reason why I bring an example of one of these ambiguities, as well as cover a bit of natural language processing, is to show that without NLP, there wouldn't be chatbots. There would be no existence of chatbots without NLP. So hence why. So let's take a look at these two sentences first. So I saw a man on the hill with a telescope, right? Now, grammatically, that sounds pretty good, right? There's no error. And now when we move to derivations, what is the actual meaning behind this, right? So did I see a man on the hill while I was using the telescope? Or did I see a man on the hill and he was holding a telescope? Or did I see a man on the hill and there was a telescope next to him? Now, all of these are true, right? I mean, grammatically, they are true, but what is missing? What's missing is context. If we knew who told us this sentence and at what time, and if we had some sort of background information or story, then we can derive or reach to a better derivation which we can make sense of. But if we can't, let alone how will a chatbot do it, right? Let's take a look at the second example. They ate pizza with anchovies. Now, pizza is food, and so is anchovies. So a most common derivation would be they ate pizzas, they ate pizza and the pizza had anchovies on it, right? Although I've never seen that, but that could be true. And or let's look at the second derivation. They ate pizza using the anchovies. Now, this is also grammatically true. They could be holding anchovies in their hands, and using those anchovies, they could be eating pizzas, which is perfectly fine in this case, nothing wrong with that. Or the third one, they are eating pizza along with anchovies. This sounds absurd, but this is also possible, at least grammatically. They could have anchovies around them and they're just enjoying, they're eating pizza with them. So this just shows us how important it is to understand, even though these are just examples of syntactical ambiguity, we can still like sort of make out and see how important it is for the chatbot or any AI system to have like language understanding or language processing capabilities and processing capabilities at its heart in order to exhibit any human-like behavior, right? Without it, it wouldn't be able to do it, right? Moving on, we take a look at why you should build chatbots. According to Modern Intelligence, the chatbot market was valued at around $17 billion in the year 2020, and it is projected to reach an extraordinary $100 billion mark by the year 2026, which is how far, just around the corner, right? We are already transiting into 2022. And there are many factors that influence this actually, such as businesses saving costs by letting chatbots automate some of the common tasks, handling queries and all that, as well as customers having a positive reaction or feedback to them, right? And another point to note is incredible reach to customers. I'm just going to explain this by one example, and I think it's simple enough to understand it by that example. So let's go back to your very own personal assistant. For those that are using Google's phone, of course, I'm going to use the Google Assistant as an example in this case. So the Google Assistant is accessible to more than 1 billion devices on Earth. Literally all the phones that run it, including the smartwatches, tablets, cars, speakers, etc. Anyone who owns those devices can access your application. Of course, by this, I'm assuming that you have uploaded your application to a platform that allows this kind of accessibility, which is the Dialogflow. And without having to download anything, they are able to get access to your application. And once it's uploaded to the platform, of course, then the utterance from the user, just the utterance from the user, can trigger the action which you have created. And based on that, your application is accessible to them. And an example for that could be, for an utterance could be, if we assume that there's a bot whose name is business bot, and then we say, hey, Google, talk to business bot. And Google is going to handle the rest, whatever is happening behind the scenes, but you are going to get access. After that utterance, you're going to be talking to the bot directly. Google Assistant is no longer going to be involved in the middle. So that's how easy it is to actually build your chatbots on and upload them on platforms like Google Assistant. So that's an incredible reach, over 1 billion customers already, right? Moving on, how you should build a chatbot. Excuse me. Well, there are so many ways to build chatbots. I mean, you can literally choose a language. You can, and with the help of some libraries, some dependencies, you can get started. Although it's a bit of a rough path, I must admit, especially when these days you have excellent platforms that offer you so many features. And a perfect example for that platform is our platform of the evening, which is Google's Dialogflow. What is Dialogflow? Dialogflow is a natural language processing platform. It helps in derivations of intents and, of course, meanings by understanding the human speech. It offers easy integration options onto your third-party or private platforms. And this is a very short definition. They have a huge documentation. If someone is interested, you can go read. It's very helpful. But at this point, we are going to dive into our Dialogflow demo, which is where we explore the platform a bit more. So now I want you all to go open a new tab and search Dialogflow. In here, you're going to see the first thing pops up is the cloud.google.com. You're going to ignore that. That's the documentation for Dialogflow. You're going to go to dialogflow.cloud.google.com, which is the second link always. Here, you are going to come across this particular sign-in button, and you're going to click sign in with whatever accounts that you have, and you're going to click on whatever account you want to use for this particular time, right? And that would bring you to a preview screen, which might be different from user to user, as I have already built some chatbots before and some agents. So mine is going to look a bit different for you, but than you, but no worries. I will guide you. Your first step after you have entered, you have signed into Dialogflow, no matter where you are at this point, all you need to do is take your cursor to the top left of your screen. And you're going to see this gear icon over there. And you're going to press this drop down button and you're going to click create new agent. This is supposed to be your first step. You can ignore whatever you're seeing on your screen. I'm not sure, it could be different from screen to screen. So just go ahead and click create a new agent. Now, this brings us to a question that what is an agent, right? An agent is basically a container within which your application sits. So all the intents, entities, and contexts associated with your chatbot sit inside the agent. So it's safe to say that the agent itself is the chatbot, and everything inside it is the features that you build in it. So there is something to note about the naming convention here. You cannot have white spaces. So what I prefer here is camel case. For those that are not familiar, a camel case looks something like this, where you separate the letter. Instead of adding white space, you just keep the next word caps. You started with the capital letter. Or alternatively, you can go ahead and put hyphens or underscore, whatever it is. So now a question to ask is, what are we going to name our agent? For this, we're going to head back to our slide for a second. I'm not sure how big it is, but I'm going to go into present mode again. So what are we going to build today? We're going to build a chatbot that sells ice cream. And for now, all we need to do is, all we need to do is focus on this particular thing. We are going to call it the Tech Scoop by AOT. I know there are some of the things written here. These are basically some of the requirements that we are going to satisfy later on. But for now, let's name our agent Tech Scoop. So we go back to the Dialogflow. I assume everyone is somewhere here right now at the agent naming place. So I'm going to go ahead and name my agent Tech Scoop by AOT, right? You can go ahead, put anything you want. You can put underscores, you can put hyphen, it does not matter. It will not change anything. Even if you follow me throughout the workshop, it's not going to change anything at all. So feel free to name it whatever you would like. And as for the default language and time zone, you can leave it as it is. I'm sure it's going to automatically be set to wherever you are. And set as mega agent, you can leave this off as well, as it says combine multiple Dialogflow agents into a single agent. Definitely that is beyond our scope for this workshop. It's a bit complicated. So we're going to go ahead and click create. This should take a few moments. So we wait for it. Should be done any minute now, actually. Right. Once it is done, you land on this page, which is the intents page. And on your left, this is the dashboard, which we've seen before, but we haven't gotten the chance to explore yet. So all the way from global, which is some sort of server options, you don't have to worry about that. All the way from there, you have the logout. Are we going to explore all the options? Certainly no, we are not going to explore all the options, but there are some things you need to keep your focus on. One of them is the intents tab, and the other one is entities. And of course, there's context, but context fall inside the intents. So we're going to take a look at that in a while. So firstly, let's go ahead. And now you see there are two intents already created over here. You didn't create them. I didn't create them, but they're still there. So they are always created when you create a new agent, you always have two intents pre-created for you. One of them is the default welcome intent, and the other one is the default fallback intent. So firstly, let's go ahead and explore the default welcome intent. When we reach here, before we start exploring insides, let's talk about what an intent actually is, right? So an intent is basically how the agent determines what to do with your user's input, or even more simply put, it is the action that your customer or your user is trying to achieve. Let me give you a good example for that. Let's assume there's a chatbot that plays music, right? It streams music, plays music, searches for songs for at the request of the user, and there's an intent called play song, right? There's an intent call instead of default welcome intent. There's an intent called play song, and the user wants to get a song played. So they are going to write something like, hey chatbot, play this song right now. So that is essentially what I meant by the description, that they are trying to achieve a specific action that is offered by the user, by the chatbot. So the user is trying to get a song played. So the naming convention here doesn't really have any constraints, as you can name it anyhow you want. You can just name it play song instead of get song. You can name it just song or stream song. There's no convention in that regards, but just to understand, that's how things work. So in this case, we have a default welcome intent, right? Let's explore this one. We have context events. We can ignore these for now. We will come to them. So first thing we need to focus on is training phrases. What are training phrases? Let's read this to better understand. When a user says something similar to a training phrase, Dialogflow matches it to the intent. Now, this is where the machine learning algorithms are being put into place. As long as your user's input, right? As long as your user is saying something in the range or within the range of this. What do I mean by within the range? I mean that it is not too separate or too different from these. So as long as it sounds something similar to this, it should use the machine learning algorithms to train the model, and it should match it to this particular intent. So as long as your user's inputs are within the range of these phrases that you put, it will match it to this particular intent. Moving on, and we can ignore this for now. This is another important aspect. Responses. Responses are something that our chatbot replies to the user with. Now, you can see there are more than one responses here. What happens when there are more than one responses? Well, the chatbot randomly selects any response and it gives it to the customer. So there's no fixed response. If you want only one response, you only have one response. You don't put multiple responses. And basically, these two are the most important things over here. And also, I would like to talk about this particular window on top right. It's a bit too early, but it's good to know what this is. Basically, you can check your chatbot right here. So a good practice is, instead of making the whole chatbot and then trying it at the end, it's the best practice, at least in my opinion. You try out any modifications that you make, you try them out right here. So in this case, I'm going to try hi, right? So I'm going to see what it responds me with. So hi is nowhere in these training phrases, right? There's no hi alone. Hi is there, is like hello, hi, or just going to say hi or hi there, but it still matches. That's what I mean. As long as it's within the range, it's not too separate. That's where it's going to match. So here's where you can test out your chatbot side by side, as long as you're making modifications. So what are these informations over here? You don't have to worry about all of them. The sentiment score, so definitely we don't have anything to do with that right now. This action, and this is important though. You can see to which intent it matched. So later when we build our chatbot, we need to see where is it matching and to what, right? So Then we also have this diagnostic info. These are JSON objects for API manipulation. If you want to sort of have a backend business logic, then you take these objects and then you extract data from them and all that. So obviously we're not going near that, but I'm just showing for your knowledge, right? So we know the training phrases and the text response, and we know how to check our bot now. Moving on, there's one more thing to explore before we start building anything, which is the default fallback intent. Now, the idea behind the default fallback intent is that whatever input by the user that doesn't get matched to any other intent goes straight to one single spot, which is the default fallback intent. So if you remember the training phrases from the previous intent, which was a default welcome intent, something like hi, hello, and all that, right? What if I write here, how are you? See, we don't have an intent that accepts any phrase similar to how are you. So where does it go? It goes to the default welcome intent because there's nothing there to cater this phrase. So what are the responses? These are the responses that are already pre-given. You can change them, but I'm just going to let that be there because yeah, this is sufficient enough for us today. So that's the idea of default fallback intent. Now, coming back to the default welcome intent, there's one very important thing that we will cover, and then we'll start making our chatbot. It's the context, excuse me. So what is a context? In English, we say when we think of the English definition, we think of something like a background information or, you know, some related story or related information, right? So a context here, basically contexts help shape or guide the conversation. So each intent has 0 to many input contexts. These are input contexts, and each intent has 0 to many output contexts, right? And they are used to shape and guide the conversation. So for example, if I have a restaurant and I have I'm taking order and then I'm taking the payment as well, right? You never take the payment before you take the order, right? You never do that. You cannot do that. So in order to make sure the conversation is guided and a certain intent is only triggered after something has been done, another intent has been triggered, then you guide them by context. So you say input context and then output context. So that's how I can make sure, for example, if I'm same example, right? So I'm accepting orders and I'm accepting payment as well. So while I'm asking for order, I can output a context that I have started accepting orders. And then when I'm dealing with the intent that accepts input payment, right? Over there, I can give the input context as the order, the thing I gave as output, the order, started order or prompted order. I know this sounds super confusing verbally, but I'm 100% sure once we touch examples, you are going to get it very nicely. I am sure on that. And if you don't, I will explain again. No worries on that. So we will now move on to exploring our requirements today for our own chatbot, right? So what are we building today? Obviously, same name. So these are the things that our chatbot is supposed to do. Greet and ask user for their order. So the chatbot is supposed to greet the user and ask them for their order. It's supposed to take the order, confirm both size and flavor are received as an input. Now, this is an ice cream selling bot. We're going to have some flavors. We're going to have some sizes, right? And the chatbot needs to ensure both the size and flavor, these two essential information are there inside the input, which is received by the user. And then there's offer menu. Now you must be wondering why offer menu after taking the order. Actually the order of this doesn't matter, but still there's a reason why we look at this after we have done this, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes when we reach that stage. And then we ask for the payment method, so we are accepting some sort of payment, and then we generate order ID, which is a tad bit extra from the scope of this workshop, but we will still do it, hopefully, if time permits. Right. So how do we picture this? All these requirements, right? It's a bit complicated to picture them. The best way to do it is, at least in my opinion, is to sort of make a conversational example. So you can initiate a conversation between you and the chatbot and map it out onto a diagram and satisfy these requirements through that conversation. Now I am going to switch my screen again. I mean, not switch, minimize this thing. I have something which doesn't have a name. I think you can just call it the conversational example. There's no specific name. If it looks a bit overwhelming, there's no need to be frightened. It's pretty basic, actually. There's nothing technical going on. This is just an example of a conversation that could take place. It doesn't have to. It can be totally different from these phrases. It can be totally different than whatever is written on these sticky notes. It can be anyhow you like, as long as the requirements are being satisfied. And if it's a bit, for those that are using dual screens, I will give you an advantage to your side. I will share this image in the chat box. So if you want, you can open it on your own screen as well. But I'd still recommend you you follow my screen as well, because I'm going to be going through it one by one, just to make it easy for us to understand, right? So first thing first, this is the max I can zoom in. So we see we have hi from the user. So right, all the yellow sticky notes are, consider them as a response by the user, and all the red sticky notes, consider them response by the chatbot, right? So first, obviously our chatbot never starts a conversation. The chatbot doesn't know who is there to cater to, right? So as long as the user greets the chatbot, then we go ahead and greet them back. And then we also ask them, what would you like, right? Now at this point, we are already completing our first requirement. We have already done with this. Greet and ask user for their order. Next up is take the order, confirm both size and flavor are received as input. For this, excuse me, I don't have to close that, but yeah. Okay, so now we have three things that we can see here going on, right? These are three logical directions that could be taken from this point onwards. Actually, there's a fourth one as well, which is basically gibberish. The user says something that the chatbot doesn't understand, and it goes to the fallback intent. But we don't have to worry about that, because we only worry about what we are going to make, and anything else is already going to be taken care of by Dialogflow. We don't have to make a fallback intent. It's already there. So we will look at these three important points now. So firstly, there's a possibility that the user can say, I need one chocolate ice cream, right? I'm just assuming any flavor. It could be any flavor. Now, the size is missing. The flavor is there. What do? We prompt them again. We ask them for the size. So case number 2, I need one large ice cream. The flavor is missing. The size is there. We prompt them again. We ask them which flavor would they like. And in both the cases, they fulfill the remaining information. And then we reach this part, which is every direction reaches the same part, right? Basically, got your order. How would you like to pay? Now we're moving to their payment method. And then there's another path, which is what is available. There could be a new user and they don't know what do we sell. In this case, we we offer them the menu or whatever flavors we are selling, and then we repeat the process again. Because if you notice carefully, after looking at what's available, it's most likely they will either make this, they will follow this route or that route, or in fact, they can follow this route as well, which they can satisfy all the requirements and simply reach this part straight away. And from here on, we are going to ask them, would you like to pay by cash or a card? and they're going to accept, they're going to type in whatever method they want, and we are going to give them an order ID. We'll talk about that in a while. So right now, my question to you all is, how do we remember or recognize that the user has given us the size or the flavor or no? How does the chatbot know? Like, how can it scan and see that, hey, the user has given the size and the user has not given us the flavor? That is exactly where entities come into play. Now, the reason why I didn't explain entities before in the platform was so that you can learn better by knowing where to apply them and then backtrack and then use it onto the platform. Entities help you store reference values so that you can refer to them later on, or you can scan through and compare the input of the user to the reference value that you have. And that way, you know, the user gave me this information and the user did not give me that information. So we are going to use entities for these. We're going to create two entities. One is going to be flavor and one is going to be the size. And then obviously, again, two options. How would you know the user has given you cash or card? So we create another entity over here, but that's too far. Let's start making our bot now. We are going to fulfill these two things first. So back to Dialogflow, inside default welcome intent, you are going to delete all these phrases, right? You're going to get rid of all those phrases, and we are going to add our own phrases. Now, what is the user most likely to say to us? Probably just like hi, hey, hello. Now remember, if this is a complete product, you're actually making it for a service or your own personal website or portfolio, then you need to have a wide range of training phrases. You cannot have like just 3 options, but this is an example I'm using for the workshop, so I'm just going to keep it simple. Hi, hey, hello. I think that's sufficient enough. So also, I'm going to delete all the responses right here. Right, excuse me. So now we are going to create a response that we will give to the user once they type in these things. So what is it that we're going to give to the user? We're going to say something like, so remember, we have to greet them and ask for the order as well. So we're going to say something like, hello, welcome to Tech Scoop by Agents of Tech. What can I get for you today? Right. We can leave it at that, or you can add different variations. It's fine, as long as you understand how to make how it works. That's all that matters. You can add different variations if you want, and now you hit save. To test this, another thing to note is whenever you click save, right, either you make some changes in the entities or intents, your agent is gonna get trained, and then you're gonna get notifications again and again, and those are very important steps actually, so never skip them, right? So for now, we type in hi again, so we can see the bot responds by hello, welcome to Tech Scoop by Agents of Tech. What can I get for you today? So far we have reached this part of the conversation already, where we are prompting for order. So remember, I told you if contexts seem a bit complicated, wait for an example to pop up, and this is where excuse me, this is where an example has arrived, and we will take a look at it now. So what is it that we are doing at this point? What would you like? I know we greeted the user, and then we are also asking them for the order, right? So we can go back, we can go to the context. So we can add an output context, which helps us remember that now we have started taking order. There is no naming convention. So remember, you can put anything you want that helps you understand. I am just going to go ahead and put prompted order, right? You can put started order or taking order, it's fine, anything works. And then you see there's a lifespan. You can set it to 0, you can set it to, I am not even sure how high you can go, but we are going to leave it at default, which is 5. Lifespan is basically something where you control for how long you want that context to be alive. So how long do you want the chatbot to remember what's happening inside? This is a bit complex. We will not be manipulating lifespan in this workshop, but that's how that's the general idea about lifespans, right? So we can go ahead and click save again. Now our bot knows that, hey, we have started taking order from this particular intent onwards. Try it again. How do we know that? We can see there's a context associated with this in response and this intent, of course, which is the prompted order. So where do we go about after this? We go back, right? Now we have, still now we just have 2 intents. We haven't created anything extra. So now we create an intent. This is going to be the most important intent of your chatbot. What is this intent? This is where you get the order. So I'm just going to go ahead and name it get order, right? And remember, we have output a context from the previous intent, which says prompted order. So we can give that context to this intent, and it will only be guided, the conversation will only be guided to this intent once that intent has been triggered. So that's how contexts work. You will understand this better. Just hold on and focus on the conversational flow. We will try it out on the top right soon enough. And here I'm going to kill this. Actually, not that way, but I'm just gonna make it 0. Why am I going to kill it? Because once we have started the order, right? We have prompted the order and we have reached to the part where we are getting the order. If we leave it alive, or yeah, I mean, alive is the correct word. If we leave that context alive, that means there is a potential risk that another utterance or input from the user can reset the process and get it back into a loop. So this can become a loop, right? So that's why we want to kill it now, because now we no longer need it. So what else do we need it? We'll come to that. For now, you just leave it as it is. And then we come to the training phrases as well as the responses. So what are the training phrases we are expecting? Let's take a look at here. I need 1 chocolate ice cream, or oh, I need 1 large ice cream, or what's available. Perfect. We need entities now. We go back to Dialogflow. I hit save for now because I'm going to leave this page. So always click save, no matter what changes you make. If it's small or big, just always hit save. You are going to go to this particular tab on your left, entities. There is no entity that has been created. Of course, these are custom entities. There are system entities, but we are not going to take a look at that as of now. Go ahead, click create. Firstly, we're gonna create an entity called size. You are coming down here and you click on first row. So you have 2 values to enter, the reference value and the synonym. The reference value, I'm going to keep it as small, and the synonym. Now, what is the idea behind these 2 things? The reference value is basically, you know, in a business, especially in this example, let's just stick to the ice cream shop. So you go to the ice cream shop, they have a set number of sizes, right? But you have different ways of saying them, perhaps different languages or different slangs or different ways of saying them. But in reality, they will not be using different ways inside their business to discuss what you have ordered. So we're going to have is small, I assume. So small, what are the different ways of saying small? You could say probably a single scoop, or you could say a scoop. I'm not sure if you ever say mini, but let's just put that mini, right? I mean, these are just synonyms for small. So this is something that your user could say within the range of this, and it will still be referenced to small. Then we have the medium. Now, what are some ways you can call the size medium? You can just say, actually, I'm not even sure about that. Perhaps double scoop, 2 scoops. What else could we put? 2 scoops like that. I think that's sufficient. Let me put 1 scoop here. I forgot to put that. 1 scoop, or 1 scoop like that, right? Okay, now we put one more size, large. So large could be big ice cream, could be triple scoops, 3 scoops, 3 scoops. I guess that should be sufficient enough. You can leave all these checkboxes unchecked. I mean, we are not taking a look at that as of now. Just let this be as it is a default, and then you can click save. So as of now, you should have an entity with 3 reference values and synonyms of your choice. You can put anything that you would like. And then we are going to go ahead, back, create another entity. Remember, we still have flavors to cater for. So we go ahead and click flavor. Flavors, I guess, plural, I don't know. Okay, difficult question now. What flavors are we selling? Let's just stick to basics, because yeah, I mean, we're not learning about ice cream. We're just making a bot. So let's just go ahead, put vanilla. Different ways of saying vanilla. I'm not sure. A kid could say white vanilla with a spelling mistake, and I think that makes sense. We can put coffee. Actually, let's just put chocolate, right? Choco could be a way of saying it. It could be chocolate with a spelling mistake, or black. A kid could say that, black ice cream. Okay, so vanilla, chocolate, and then what else should we put? Let's just put strawberry, right? Sorry. And now we can put some like pink. Again, children can say anything. So let's just try to put that pink, strawberry with a spelling mistake, single R. I think that's all should work. Let's add one last one, which is, let's add coffee. Coffee with single F, double E, double F, single E, and I think that should be sufficient. We can go ahead and click save. So we are done with 2 entities now. Okay, so moving on to our intents tab, get back to get order. At this point, we are going to go ahead and add training phrases. So what are we expecting from the user? We are expecting to get an order from the user, right? So I'd like a small ice cream. Now, small has been tagged as the size automatically. Sometimes it doesn't work. You can manually tag it. I'll show you if it doesn't work. Let's just keep adding more examples. I'd like a vanilla ice cream. No size, remember. So vanilla has been tagged as flavor, and small has been tagged as the size. These are entities being coming into play. So let's just give another few examples. It's always good to give a lot of examples. I'd like, let me just go ahead. I want 2 scoops of pink. Let's see if this is being picked up. Perfect. Sometimes it works excellent, actually. So yeah, So I want 2 scoops of pink. So 2 scoops is the entity, and the pink is the flavor, it's the strawberry, referring to strawberry, right? And then I'll just put another one. I want 3 scoops of black. Okay, perfect. Everything's working. So that with that, we have like some enough training phrases. What are we going to respond back? A bit not difficult, actually. You can get it. It's pretty easy. So now we have gotten the order. We have catered for these 2 things. What do we do next? We say, sure, something like that, right? You're accepting the order, sure. Now is the time that you repeat the order. So how do you know what is the exact flavor and the exact size the user has given? For that, you are going to say 1, and then you're going to put a $sign. What does the $sign do? It gets the value that is referencing to the entity. So that's what it's going to get. So $size, and then again $flavor. So if the input was, let's assume this, right? I want 2 scoops of pink. Now the reply to that from the chatbot would be, sure, 2 scoops, right? So 2 scoops would be medium. So 1 medium strawberry, that's how it will get translated. So 1 medium strawberry coming right up. Remember, now we have to ask them how would they want to pay as well. So how would you like to pay? That's where we ask them. So we are going to offer them some things like we accept cash, card. Let's just add QR for fun, and QR. Yeah, okay. That's how we're going to respond to them. And there's still something significant left to do, actually, which is, so we catered for these inputs. We also wrote this down. And what about these prompts? What if the user gives us 1 input? Now that we have entities, we can scan, we can know that the user has given us 1 or more inputs. For that, we can go ahead and click at manage parameters and action. Gonna head click check the box for both as required right here. So you're going to check the box for required, and then you're going to go ahead to define the prompts, right? So whatever you write over here is what the chatbot will ask the user at that time if one of the input is missing. So right here, I'm going to say, this is for the size, right? I'm sorry, I did not catch. I mean, let's just say I didn't catch that, or not just that, catch what size you wanted. We offer small, medium, and large. Which one would you like? Something like that. You can put anything that you like. There's no constraints on this. I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. Close. So this is the prompt for the size, and we're going to define a prompt for the flavor. I'm going to paste it here. So instead of small, medium, large, I'm going to change this to we offer vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and coffee. Which flavor would you like? That could be a prompt for our second, which is the flavor, right? Go ahead, click save. Okay, perfect. So for now, we can try it out here. So we can say hi or hey. Hello, welcome to Tech School by Agents of Tech. What can I get for you today? So I'm going to go ahead and say, I want a scoop of vanilla, please. Sure, 1 small vanilla. So see how a scoop got translated to 1 small, right? Small, because Remember, our reference value is the main value. We don't care about what synonyms we use. Actually, we have another way to access that also, but it's not good practice to do that. So we're going to stick to this. So one small, and then the vanilla is just vanilla. But if I had used a synonym here, it would also get translated back to the original reference value. So far, everything is working, and we have done this, this, as well as this. What is next? Next, we create the complete payment intent. I know there's a menu missing. Don't worry, we'll come to that. It's just going to take a minute to create that. So we're going to go create the intent. I'm going to name it complete payment and hit save. Okay, so what training phrases are we expecting? Once again, we go back to the our conversational example. So we are expecting the user to either choose cash, card, or QR, right? So we need an entity again. We are going to click create entity. We are going to say payment method. And here, again, reference value, I'm going to give cash because one of our method is cash. We can just leave cash as the synonym. We're going to go ahead and put card. And here we can say maybe debit, credit, and yeah, that should be sufficient. Or the QR code, of course. So we can just say QR as a synonym, and we can click save. It doesn't matter what synonyms you put. You can put it from your own creativity. It's fine. So now we go back to get, complete payment. Now imagine I asked, we accept cash, card, and QR, right? So I'm going to say, I'll go with cash. It's tagged as payment method, or I can say I'll go with card, tagged as payment method, or I can say I'll scan the QR code, also tagged as the payment method. Perfect. So now is where things get complicated. What do we respond the user with? For this one, we can say, awesome, your payment is successful. Something like that. Enjoy your ice cream. And we can click save. Now, remember, there is no context here. And without context, we cannot guide the conversation. We go back to the intents. We go back to our last intent that we had created, and we look for what happened. We kill the prompted order. So now we need to output another context, which will help us realize that we have started accepting payment now. So we say prompted payment, right? Prompted payment. We click save, and then we go back to complete payment. And here we come back and we put this as the input again, and we will kill it here again. So same logic, we are just repeating it from the prompted order to prompted payment. So we kill it and save it. Okay, agent training started, and it will be done soon. So we can, in the meantime, we can try out the chatbot. Agent training completed. So we say, hey, hello, welcome to Tech Scoop by Agents of Tech. What can I get for you today? So I'll be like, I want 2 scoops of coffee, please. Sure, 1 medium coffee coming right up. How would you like to pay? I'll go with card. Awesome, your payment is successful. Enjoy your ice cream. So far we have covered, we have covered everything except this middle row. So how difficult it is to cover the middle row? Well, we just need one more intent, and we don't even need any entities over there. So let's get see how we can offer them the menu. I'm going to go ahead, create another intent called offer menu. Now, this is the most confusing part for this intent. So just pay a bit of attention. What happens to the input and output context? Look what happens. So prompted order as an input and prompted order as an output, and we don't kill any intent. Why don't we kill any intent? Because from here, the prompted order is active, right? It's activated. And so it's going to input here, it's going to input here, and it's going to input here. So if after we ask them, welcome to AOT ice cream shop, what would you like? After that, if the user says what is available, then we send them back to this. That's what we are doing literally. So we tell them the menu and then we send them back. So from there on, they can take this route, that route, or they can just simply order. That's how it works. So we are redirecting them to the same thing, what's coming as an input, we are also giving it as an output. So user phrases could be like, what can I get? Or what do you sell? Something like that. Let's just keep it simple. And the response could be, we have vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and coffee ice cream flavors today. What can I get for you? Perfect. Now we go ahead and click save. It's going to get trained and saved. Okay, I think we can try it out. I'm not sure if the training has been completed yet, but let's see. Hey. Hello, welcome to the Tech Scoop by Agents Tech. What can I get for you today? So I go ahead and ask, what do you sell? So it says we have vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, coffee, ice cream flavors today. What can I get for you? I want a small pink, please. Sure, one small strawberry coming right up. How would you like to pay? Cash. So at this point, we have literally completed everything in our chatbot except one thing, which is the order ID. So we are prompting them if they don't ask. We are also offering them the menu, and everything is going on. And yeah, so that covers everything except this. Now, this is where things get interesting. The reason why I said it's out of our scope, but I'll still try to do it if time permits, is because in order to generate an order ID, we have to write some code. Oh, okay. Which is where you go to integration, something called, sorry, not integrations, fulfillment. My bad. Right? So now you need to understand that this functionality allows you to type code inside. It's an inline editor. It's powered by Google Cloud Functions, and it allows you to write and manipulate your code, your chatbot, and also other APIs inside your platform, inside the Dialogflow itself. This is just an alternative to webhooks. For those that have been programming, you must be knowing what is webhooks and the post requests. You can enable that and start off. But a thing I would like to highlight is the inline editor requires a billing account, but the good thing is they don't really charge you anything. The reason why they require billing account is because they give you some sort of free credit, and that's why they need that account. But it's Google's promise that they don't charge you anything until you manually enable or change it, right? So that's why I've left this part for last. We will explore it because this is just to show you other powerful functionalities of Dialogflow, actually. So now before I get into the fulfillment part, we are going to quickly cover integrations before this, because this is an extra part. So I would like to focus on the scope or the agenda of the workshop first, and then we're going to come in here and type in some code, which shouldn't take more than a few minutes, right? So when we talk about integrations, we basically mean that how can you get this integrated onto other platforms like, you know, Messenger and all that. So obviously, are we going to look at all those? No, it's not possible. These are ways you can integrate it onto a SIM card if you have any, and then you just call and you talk to the chatbot. It should work. In fact, they offer 30 days standard agent, and like if you click next, I can literally get a US based number right now, and that's taking a time to process, but yeah. And then you can just literally call that number, and yeah, things like that. But obviously we're not going to go do that. And there's so many other options like web demo and Messenger. This is the simplest one. All you need to do is go to your Facebook page, get this page access token, and then insert it here. And for verify token, you just create any string, and that's it. Your Messenger has the Dialogflow chatbot integrated onto it now. So that's how easy integrations are on this. So the question is, what are we going to take a look at today? I'm quickly going to integrate these two. This is the web demo and the Messenger onto a domain, a spare domain that I have, just so that you can practice and play around with the chatbot, because you will be able to access it. I'm going to drop this into the chat box below. So you see, there's nothing over here right now. I'm going to drop this in the chat box below. Okay. So you can try opening it right now. You won't find anything. However, I'm going to enable the web demo first. Get the iframe. It's literally just putting an iframe into your HTTP docs. If you have a personal domain, you can do that, and it should work as a charm. Pretty straightforward, actually. So all you do is copy the iframe from here, and yeah. So hold on, I'm going to open the hosting, and then I'm going to show you the file directory for the integration. In the meantime, if there are any questions, you can start typing. Actually, we're going to move to the Q&A very soon, or you can prepare them if you want. And also feel free to unmute and ask. Actually, you don't have to type necessarily. Okay. So I'm gonna go into the hosting, right, managing and all that. So I'm gonna go to the file manager, right? I'm just looking to find this thing called the HTTP docs. This is going to be there for sure, no matter which hosting you choose or which way you host your domain. It's going to be there, even if you locally host it with I forgot the server's name. Yeah, but even if you locally host it on localhost, you will still have HTTP docs. So all you have to do is come to the index.html, and you're going to, I'm not sure if I copied that, but I'll copy that again. So I'm going to paste that iframe somewhere here. And I'm also going to enable the Messenger. What's the difference between Messenger? Messenger is just focused on typing, actually. And only typing. Yeah, it doesn't allow the voice capabilities. Right, so I'm going to post this as well, starting from once again when script. Okay, script until this part. Okay, perfect. We don't have to worry about the indentation. It's pretty bad as of now, but it will still work. Now, if you open the domain, right? If you open the domain, I didn't click save or what? Hold on. Oh, okay, excuse me. um, mm, I am going to clear these things out again, and we're gonna post this. Yeah, the bot is there, I know, but the web bot is still, if you see this, right? Our bot is there, the messenger is there, but the web bot is still not connecting for some reason. Either way, it doesn't matter. You can still access the messenger bot. I'll fix this issue within a while actually. But for now, let's test out our messenger, right? So you can use it on your phone. You can talk to it here, and it should work. And that's how simple it is to integrate it onto a domain that you own. And it's even more simple to actually integrate onto other platforms. But like this is simple, but there are complicated ones as well, such as this. For this, there are proper instructions given. So if you would like to integrate, you can follow these instructions. You can get it just by clicking here. Once again, it's a bit complicated, so definitely not covering that here, but you can follow these and you will be able to integrate it onto your platforms. So that's just the basic idea of how you can get the chatbots integrated to your platform. I'm going to leave this bot here for a week. You can practice, you can build your own and compare and do things and all kinds of things. And yeah, now let's just get back to what I promised you before the fulfillment. I'm going to write one small code. I'm going to enable the inline editor. It's going to ask me for the billing, right? Excuse me. Yeah, I already have a billing account, so I'm just gonna, oh, okay, never mind. So hold on here. So I am going to switch agents now. I knew this could happen. There is a quota system in a particular day, but no worries. I have already dealt with that in a test bot. So we are just as a backup, I have prepared an agent earlier on where I have written this piece of code here. I'm not sure how big that is on your screen, but that's the whole idea of the code. So we create a function, right? This is JavaScript. We create a function, we call it order ID, we pass the agent to it, and then we start the curly braces. We create a variable. Remember, our whole goal is to create the order ID, random order ID. So we're going to use some math. Excuse me. What we are doing here is taking a random number, right? Math.random. We're taking a random number, and then we are multiplying it by 10,000 so to increase its size. And then we are flooring it. We are taking the floor of that number. So what floor means? Floor means round it downwards to the nearest integer and return the result, basically. So the order ID is going to have something that's the result of this. And our chatbot is going to respond this. So your payment is successful, your order ID is, so we are putting a $sign in order to access this variable. And then we put the these brackets, and then we put the name of the variable inside. And then we close the thing, and this is not required, sorry. Okay, it is, never mind. And that's our our reply. And then we also have one more thing to do, intent map dot set. What this does is you have to enter your intent name over here. So based on which it's triggered. And once that intent is triggered, this is the function that is going to get executed. And what is this function? It's the same function that we created right here. That's the whole idea. This function is pretty straightforward. You can do pretty complex things using this inline editor. Unfortunately, I ran onto a quota problem for a day, but luckily I had just prepared this before the workshop, just in case if anything goes wrong. So we can still use this, no worries. And also one more thing you need to keep in mind, you need to go wherever you use this intent, you need to go to that intent and you need to remove any response you have. Actually, you can let it be there, but you don't need to have any response. All you need to do is enable webhook call for this intent right here. You need to switch this on. And what it does is, it's instead of looking for responses here, it's going to go to the code and ask for a response from there. So what does this look like? Let's try this out. Hi, welcome to TechScoop by AOT. What can I get for you? I want a small, actually, we haven't tested our, we'll test that in a while. So I want a small pink. I'll just go with this. So sure, one small strawberry coming right up. How would you like to pay, cash or card? I'm gonna go with cash. Awesome. You know, it took a while. Why? Because it was generating the order ID. So your payment is successful and your order ID is 3690. This is a totally random number. Why? How do we know that? We can check that again. I want a scoop of vanilla, please. Cash. Awesome, your payment is successful. Your order ID is 4329. So we can see how the order ID is changing now. So this is not possible as of now using Dialogflow's, internal functions. So you need to write some code for this kind of functionality. So that is our chatbot included with our extra function of generating an order ID. You can keep this domain. I'm going to leave the chatbot there for about a week, and I'm also going to fix the quota issue, and you will be able to see the order ID function later on if you would like to practice and see how it works. So, and of course, I also encourage you to build on top of this chatbot, right? If you have any ideas you can improve, and yeah, you can keep adding. That's how you learn, actually. So yeah, I apologize for reaching around the end of the workshop. I mean, we have 3 minutes left, but it's okay. I'm here. Once again, I apologize for reaching the end. So, I mean, if there are any questions, we can take them now. I'd be happy to answer if there are any questions. Please feel free to unmute or type in the chat. Can this Dialogflow chatbot be integrated with other services? Not that I know of, not the TensorFlow, not the cloud. If you talk about the cloud platform, right? The Google Assistant, there's some sort of way you can build a conversational agent with Dialogflow and then integrate it, not integrated, I wouldn't say integrate, but you can actually move it onto the Google Assistant, right? So you can create, remember earlier in the presentation earlier, I said about the incredible reach on Google Assistant side, right? So you can build a conversational agent and then you can offer it on the Google Assistant. You don't need any other tools or methods. Dialogflow offers that kind of functionality, but TensorFlow, not that I know of, not TensorFlow. Perhaps sooner or later, but as far as my knowledge goes, not the TensorFlow, but the cloud platform, one part of it is the Google system. You can build on that using Dialogflow. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. You're welcome. Anybody else has any questions, please feel free to ask. Google Duplex. I have actually no idea what is Google's Duplex. Let me take a look right now. What is Google AI system? Actually, as of what I know of Dialogflow, it's more towards offering natural language processing services. So it's also not entirely true that it is just there to make chatbots. Actually, that's not the case. It offers you natural language processing and understanding capabilities by its powerful NLU engine, and you can use those if you are really into it. I mean, you can have the complex business logic, and you can have those webhooks APIs available, enabled, and you can utilize its NLP capabilities, and it will help you onto your business side, right? Your applications development side. But this is with what I read is an AI system for accomplishing real world tasks over the phone. So this is a bit more specific, I would say, or more generalized, not specific yet, generalized, because this is this is accomplishing real world tasks, whereas that is primarily focused on NLP. So it's like natural language processing. With that, you can do a lot of other things like building a chatbot, which is one useful uses of NLP, basically build a chatbot. Phil, you're very welcome. Yeah, and also in the meantime, if there are, while the Q&A is going on, please feel free to scan this QR code. We appreciate your opinions and feedback, right? So if you want to train our chatbot, we can also use voice recognition, right? Actually, the reason why I gave you the domain, right, the Securfinity up there, you can go on your phone and you can talk to it. I will enable the web demo as well as the messenger. If you're using the Google, I'm not sure iPhone allows that, but Google has this mic icon on the keyboard, right? You can use that, and this bot will accept your voice. You can talk to it using your voice. Yeah, you can just talk to it. I've tried that, it works. So, and the pronunciation and accents, it's pretty good. They are working, you know, it's a self-learning kind of thing. So it's pretty good, it works. So please try that. And also the web demo, I will be immediately fixing it. I'm not sure what's the issue with that. Probably something on Google side, but I'll fix that. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, it works very well. And they are also having more developments on it, right? I would have tried it out in front of you guys, but I'm actually not sure if I'm using, if Zoom is using my audio at the same time, if I can do that on the web, right? Sometimes I face some issues, but try it on your phone. It works most of the times. Yeah. Right. Any more questions, please feel free to ask. And also, before you leave, do fill this feedback form. It matters to us. We can improve with your opinions and suggestions. And if there are no questions, thanks a lot for tuning in. And I hope you learned a thing or two. And I would like to see you all again for a better workshop next time. Until then, stay safe, and I'll catch up with you all in the next workshop. Thank you very much.